Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Dr. Hazel Jay. Hey!
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Get Lit with Dr. Hazel Jay. And I am here today with my special guest,
Spade. Hi.
Hi, Spade. So, Spade, go ahead and tell us about you. Who are you, Spade?
Who am I? So, my name is Spade. I am an entrepreneur of many varieties. My specialty is in content creation and social media right now. I also host my own podcast, Our Black Podcast, which is a little bit of a pivot off of the book that I'm writing called Our Black Book Poetry, that talks about the collective experience of trauma through Black women.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. That is you. Give it up. I'm already liking this, yo. Yes. So, just honesty, what made you want to come be a part of this show, Get Lit with Dr. Hazel Jay?
Okay, so I have seen an episode or two, and I see this experience as being one that has a lot of potential for healing if you are open to that experience for yourself. And that is something that I kind of have my own personal investment in. And also, anything having to do with doing business with Black women is something I'm here for. So, any opportunity I get to show up and do the work with Black women is an opportunity I relish in.
Awesome. Not relish.
Relish.
Not that's the word of the day, y'all. Relish.
Relish. You better put a little relish on it.
Relish it up. Relish it up. All right. So, speaking of your podcast and your book, can you briefly share what motivated you? What was your turning point or your defining moment that said, you know what, I need to create this. I need to put this out here.
So those two things were inspired by entirely different experiences. The podcast was inspired by working for shady Black men specifically. And I love Black men. Let's not confuse things. I love Black men. I grew up with Black men. Black men have created me to be who I am in so many different ways. But in the city of Atlanta specifically, there are a lot of people who do bad business. And I was driven to a nonprofit that I thought was going to really be deep in the community. And after doing that work and recognizing that there's a lot of silencing happening to Black women specifically in professional environments, and just in general, Black women are not being able to, and you're going to hear me Black women to I'm blue in the face, but the Black women are not always allowed to express their selves or express what their opinions are, express their gentleness, express their softness, express their need for professionalism in a work environment, not be sexually harassed, not be bullied, not be threatened, and just have those experiences. So Our Black Podcast grew out of that notion. And the direction was guided by Our Black Book Poetry, which is already something I was working on. And Our Black Book Poetry was a derivative of a suicide attempt. I tried to kill myself in 2019, October 2019. And that moment where I made the conscious decision that I was going to try to die was the last time I told myself was the last time I was going to allow myself to dwell in the spaces of feeling like I needed to die to be able to overcome my reality. And so it was the moment of being like, all right, you tried to die and you didn't die. So what are you going to do? You can't live in death forever. I need you to choose to live every day. I need you to make that conscious choice. And then I started to recognize as I continued to unpack my trauma and go through therapy and have those experiences that a part of my struggle was a collective. The collective experience of what it means, the symbolic meaning, the significance of what it means to be a Black woman. A lot of my experiences are so not unique, it's heartbreaking. And so a lot of times feeling like, you can look at a Black woman and what is it, maybe 3 out of 4 of us are experience sexual trauma? That's astronomical, and that's more than any other demographic of women in America. Why is it that when we feel ourselves experience these things and we are trying to reconcile with our grief, our voices are told to be quieter because what the trauma that we are enduring is coming from our family members, from our uncles, from our relatives, and all these people who have a vested interest in silencing us. And the women in our family are collectively protecting them because they have experienced the same thing and have been told to be quiet. And so this is something that I feel like a conversation needs to be had around. And the book was bred out of the idea of Black women need to see themselves in this book through our trauma.
Wow, I'm just gonna sit with that for a moment. Trauma. When you said that, it just reminded me of like, wow. I said, I wonder if she's gonna ask me, am I one of those?
The question answers itself.
Listen. I was like, wow, wow, and it's sad that especially the Black women who know that their Black daughters, nieces, granddaughters, even, I mean, at this day and age, Black sons, nephews, grandsons are being violated in the most atrocious ways and still feel the need to protect those men and nowadays these women.
Tell the truth. Shame the devil.
Listen.
You better talk about it. Because women are not a special category of people who are completely incapable of being monsters.
They're not incapable. Anybody can be a monster.
Anybody can be a monster.
Your siblings can be a monster.
Very oftentimes are.
Your parents can be the monster. Your parents and your siblings can be the monster. Your grandma, auntie, uncle, cousin, and siblings can be the monster all at once, and you're over here still trying to
glow.
Trying to
glow in the dark. And the dark is dark because ain't nobody in your family.
And the dark is dark. And how do you find your glow in the midst of that? How did you find your glow?
Child. So I think 2019 was pivotal. It took me dying. Genuinely, it took me dying. I was viciously a very pessimistic person to the degree of like no one on the outside could see that, but on the inside of me there was a lot of negativity brewing and a lot of spaces where I was like, I don't deserve to live. It's no real point in all of this, and you could give me any positive thing and I can take it on its head and I can make it dark. It was just how I was talented at making my negativity was my talent at some point.
And a lot of people do that all the time and don't even know they do it. They've turned their trauma into their truth.
Every day.
And have made it a reality. So a lot of people are making their negativity from their trauma their truth, right? A lot of folks are believing that who they are is who they are. They've built their entire existence.
They've placated their whole existence
off of negativity from the trauma that they've experienced. And and tell me, and I can be wrong. Do you think that, or have you ever taken your trauma? I know you say being pessimistic, yes, but have you ever like taken a part of your trauma and made and embraced it or dolled it up as if this was something amazing to be? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think a part of like what you were asking, a part of the question you were asking me earlier about how did I learn to glow through, I think it kind of happened in these phases. The first was embodying the negativity of that traumatic experience, and I think just like grieving, that has a process to it. And the first part of that process to me was being so entrenched in that trauma that I made it everything that I was. And then at a certain point too, somewhere in that process was me feeling like a part of my trauma was what made me sexy to other people. There's a part of my book where I put, how do you love me? How could you? Like a sweet fruit, you love me unbitten, but I had more bite marks in my cherry than most men. I've had bites taken out of me since I was a little girl and at 6 years old, and Eve taught me how to touch my first woman. And a lot of that ideology of like you sensationalize this notion of I'm sexy to you because I'm so elusive and so desirable. And a part of that has to do with the fact that I have been hypersexualized from a very young age. And I have learned as a result of sexuality that I have to give sex to you. I have to. Making treaties with my enemies, I have to give sex to you. That I owe that to you as a traumatic response. And I'm really embodying that. And what helped me glow out of that experience was when I stopped feeling like I owed everyone my body, like it was a part of my legacy. And how we really, the portrayal of Black women, that we are sexual, we're hypersexual people. And um, there's the whole ideology that Black women are just way more sexual than everybody else and is played up on TV, movies, and everything else on screen. That once I learned that that is not, I don't owe people that part of myself. I don't owe anyone my sexuality, but I also don't have to deny myself who I am because I don't owe other people. I can be whoever I choose. And then glowing out of that even more and evolving from that was doing the shadow work that it took to allow myself to apologize for all of the things that I went through that I wasn't necessarily in control of, that I still blame myself for being experiencing. How can you blame a 4 year old girl for letting someone take advantage of them? She's 4. I forgive you for being a child and not knowing. I forgive you for that because for a long time I thought that a part of that was me, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that I was told, specifically after being raped, I was told you have to pray that off because you tempted people, you're tempting them. You got to pray that off. Tell God that you sorry. And so internally, a part of my mind was like, oh, this is my fault. I'm really, really making people want to do this to me. Maybe my skirt should be a couple inches longer. Maybe I should button it up a little bit more. If I wasn't always so out there, no one would see me that way. And that's just so untrue.
So that's definitely untrue. And that can be played out in many different ways. Even even I just had an experience, not to the point to where I wanted to. I was told that you always want attention.
I love that one.
You try to steal the show. You're this and you're that. And and so yesterday I went through this thing. I went through 7 different outfits just to make sure
That I wasn't begging people for attention.
that I wasn't going to hear something like that. And I had to have a conversation with my homegirl and say, because I didn't even make it to church service. I was like, no, I can't do this because I don't want this. I don't want to hear that. And then she was like, Hazel, don't ever change who you are. This is you. You dress how you dress. You are who you are. Don't change that. And she said, and pay attention to who you're hearing it from, right?
Amen.
Because the person who's saying
That's
that
the one.
ain't even on your level, to be honest, right? And so, so she says that to me yesterday. Prior to that, I had a speaking engagement, and even then, we had to do like this acronym of like who you are, what your name means for each letter, right? And so I say that I'm happy, that I'm amazing, that I'm zealous, that I'm empowering, that I'm a light, right? Then my negative was that I'm hot tempered, that I am that I'm argumentative.
Come on, negative and positive.
Z was that I'm zealous still. E is that I have an ego, and L is that I forgot what L was, but from all of that, I had to say though to what you're saying, I said in me saying that I have an ego, my ego really, I can't, people can't say I have an ego.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Who
dope.
does
I
it?
am. I'm dope. I'm fresh. I'm
Right.
all these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I made ego my word because of what I was holding on to from what that lady said about me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so to your point, a lot of times we will take something, and whatever we have that most emotional connection to is right, wrong, or indifferent is what we link on
We
to.
link on to.
Doesn't matter who the person is.
That's right.
It's the emotional connection we have to that experience that we hold on to. And so it can come out as you dimming your light,
Dim.
right? It can come out as you playing small. It can come out as you over sexualizing yourself. It could come out as you under sexualizing yourself. It can come out in so many different ways, which is why it's very important to be able to be very reflective of your experiences.
Yes,
but think, why am I responding to this experience in this way? What is my reason why? So what you did was you said, okay, I know why I'm overly sexual. I get that. But I'm also choosing, right?
Yeah.
Not to not be sexual.
Yeah. When I choose it for me, I choose it for me.
And it's okay.
And that's my choice.
It's different than someone saying, I'm going to take it from you, or I'm going to silence you. It's a difference. And being able to figure that out. What is your why? What is your why behind? Why do you think that you're over sexual? You're an over sexual being. I'm very hypersexual. Very much so. And I had to
reel that in.
I had to figure that out. No, I had to reel it in.
Yeah.
Because I had some issues going on.
Right.
Right. And it stemmed from me being molested. I it was either I was gonna go one way, hate men, or I was gonna
go the other way.
And I chose to
love a man down.
Man.
To the ground and below.
Yo.
Below. Talking drinking bath water, baby. We is loving that man.
I'm talking about, and you didn't even have to.
You didn't even have to deserve it.
You didn't even have to. I told myself that I can separate sex, love, and like. All I want you for is your
extremities.
That's it.
That's the one.
Because I still had to figure out how to have control over it. So I'm going to take the very thing that was taken from me, and I'm going to use it, and I'm going to give it, but I'm going to separate. So as soon as a man tells me, oh, but you're going to get wrapped in me, you already done lost me.
You lost the emotional side of me bad.
You done lost it, because now I'm here to prove to your ego
it ain't never that deep.
It ain't never that serious. And so for me to figure, I had to, do I even have the capacity? I should think I was like the Black Widow. Like, do I have the capacity to love? Do I really have the capacity to love?
And that feels like the cycle, really. Like, it starts with this sensation of like, I have to re-own this for me, which is exactly what you should do as a person who has experienced sexual trauma, whether you're in the direction of being hypersexual or you're feeling like you should not be sexual at all and you're just really hoarding yourself up. It starts with you owning that. I am who I am. That's a period. The experiences that have happened to me are the experiences. I don't hold myself to this regard of needing to invalidate or validate that experience in order to make sense of how I am today.
Exactly.
I am who I am, and that's period.
That's all I am. And I get to have a choice.
I get to choose
on how I
choose to do that.
And
then once you open that door up and you're like, okay, cool, I'm choosing now. And then sometimes that does come without your heart because you need it to, because you have to have the experiences for yourself to be able to enjoy sex again, not just be able to have sex and try it out a whole bunch of different times to have it, but you need the experience of the enjoyment of sex again. Sex was taken from you early on and it was weaponized against you. And for a long time, you were trying to reclaim sex for yourself by having sex with people, especially with people who you don't desire, and having sex with people you don't desire to empower yourself.
Yo, and it goes even deeper than that because the energies that's connected
Connected
to
to the
the people.
people.
So that
And then you're
that's what
carrying
slowed
everybody's
me. That's
energy
what
force.
slowed me
Yeah.
all the way down
Yeah.
because even with that understanding, it's the energy that they have, and then who were they with, and all of that. So for me, it
That
was
sexual
okay.
spiritual exchange is
Let's
different. Back it up.
I'm choosing now to say this is no longer part of my identity to show up in this way.
In this way.
In this way doesn't mean that I was
It's
wrong.
It
just means that I now have a different. I have a
Mhm.
different space
Space
to
for
be in, and I want something different now.
Yes.
And it's okay. So we change.
We evolve.
We evolve, and you're supposed to. You should not be who you was in 2017 in
That's
2023. You should not. You shouldn't even be who you was yesterday.
Today,
to
for
be
real.
honest, you shouldn't be. Like for real, for real.
Yep.
There should be something about you
that's just a little bit different
it's
than yesterday.
It's a little bit different. Just something.
Just a little different than yesterday.
Something.
Maybe you drunk your tea with your left hand today.
Do it with your right.
And do it with your right.
Maybe you didn't have your pinky.
Throw your pinky up. Throw your pinky up. Put it out there. Sip. Use some elegance. Hello?
It's okay.
Yes, it's okay.
It's okay.
And we encourage the change, and it doesn't always have to be this progressive, beautiful change. So everybody likes to believe that healing is a straight journey. You go from here to there. It's a cycle. It's
not even a cycle, yo.
It's everywhere.
It looks like a big old conglomerate of wraparound, intertwined, gooey, messy,
you gonna have days. You gonna have days where you thought you took 100 steps back, only to take 500 in the opposite direction.
Man.
And you're gonna have to relearn what you thought you taught. You're gonna love yourself one day, let somebody come and take that from you, and have to learn to love yourself all over again.
All over again. I have to tell myself all the time, Hazel, I like you and I love you.
I like you.
And I love you.
And I love you. I
and
like you. And the like is a big say.
Man, like to me is more powerful than love.
Yes.
I have the
I love everybody.
I love humanity
as a whole.
I don't know if I can't say I've ever been in love. I can't say that. I can't, and it takes you got to be somebody
extra
for me to like
you.
Like for real.
What does that say about you if you can like you? How extra special are you for you to be liked? By
me, because there was a time I did not like me.
You.
So if I didn't like me, how the heck you think you gonna get me to like you? I don't like you.
I don't like nobody, baby.
I deal with you. I tolerate you. What you get from me is what everybody can get from me. Yeah, that's a difference.
It's the surface only.
That's it. Mm-hmm. And but people get so consumed, and this goes right back to trauma again. People use people to validate
their experiences. Come on, Dr. Hazel.
And stop. And sometimes, and I learned this about me, and this was from my most recent relationship. I learned that I choose people who invalidate me to try to get them to teach them to validate me.
Yeah, to be more careful.
And because I learned at a young age from my mother that it's the standard for someone not to come with the general level of respect and validation for you. And you have to try to get them. You have to show them. You have to prove
to them that
you're worthy of. And then me, on the other hand, I'm so hip with it. I'm so in depth in my understanding of what it means to be validated that I'm teaching you. I'm giving you the play-by-play on how to be empathetic. Baby, you ain't got empathy. You ain't got empathy. I can't teach you that. I can't teach you that.
You can't teach nobody how. You cannot teach somebody who's not willing to go do it themselves by trial and error. You got to. I can't teach you how to love.
I can't teach you to love me. That's something you're going to do.
You're going to do it or you're not.
Or you're not.
I can't teach you how to like me. I give trust. I was giving people. No, I'm just trusting you to be a human being at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I can't.
You a person.
That's it.
You're
and sometimes you don't even show up as a person. You might show up as
a deity from somebody else's underworld.
Man. And so with all of that, how what about what we've just talked about so far is related to your book? Where
So
so
okay,
find a piece in your book
child,
that speaks what we've been saying, so we can bring all this
bring this
together, and
together.
they can really visualize this. They can
Exactly. They
feel
can
what you're
feel
feel
where
it,
I'm
right?
talking about. So I'm gonna read "Black Women Don't Feel Pain," which is just a synthesis of the entire experience of being invalidated in terms of our pain and our experience. It's not talking specifically about the emotional invalidations in this situation of this right now conversation, which I love. But Black Women Don't Feel Pain is encompassing of that entire reality. So okay, so here we go. Black women don't feel pain. It has been scientifically proven. We are immune. That's what our doctors tell us every time they leave the room, and we are crying and clenching our bellies, dying from labor or AIDS, or simply dying of being Black women. Black women don't feel pain. It has been proven through genetics. We carry Eve, gene, and morphine. We birth nations and die like trees in a forest. If no one is around, no one will hear us snap. Mentally, rape after rape. We love sex and violence. We give our lives to be buried with that trauma. Black women don't feel pain. It has not been possible. That's what our mothers tell us, and what their mothers tell us, and what their mothers told them. We come from a long line of Black women too strong to break. Except that one time that one girl did. Now look at her. Broken. No man. No one to love her. But nobody loves Black women. Not even Black mothers that make it genetic to feel the pain a Black woman feels.
Mm. 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 Mm.
So, okay. So, all right. So,
But before I want you to
yeah.
tell folks where they can get your book, right? I
Yes.
want you to do that.
Yeah.
What was going on when you wrote that? In that moment, do you remember what was going on?
It was the reality of what it. So, a few things came together for me. One of the parts of the things was having been invalidated in hospitals about the realities of what it means to be sick as a Black woman, having the reality of like going through life and trying to express yourself in the strong Black woman trope. And then one of the words that kept triggering me was when people would call me resilient and strong. And that used to make me irritated hearing people tell me that. They would be like, "Oh my God, you're so strong and resilient." I would tell somebody a part of my trauma that, "Oh, you're so strong."
It's like the go-to word.
Yeah, "Oh, you're so strong. Look at a strong Black woman." You know what? You're making me sick because I hurt from this. You're not allowing me to hurt. You're not allowing me to have my experience of pain. And you're telling me that I'm not, that it's my responsibility to be strong and heal myself. And if I do snap, if I am breaking, I have to do that out of sight of the people. And that's something that our mothers tell us, their mothers tell us, and we come from a long line of women who understand that Black women's pain and suffering, unless it's weaponized as a political tool, has nothing to do with how we can show up in the world.
That is facts. That is facts. So go ahead and tell us where we can find that book, though.
Okay, so the book right now is under copyright. So if you just heard that poem and you thought you was finna put that somewhere before I got there, stop. But my intentions right now are to publish it with Amazon. So our Black Book Poetry should be coming to Amazon very soon. But in the meantime, you can follow me on Instagram. I will be letting y'all know when that's posted. So you can follow me on my personal Instagram at DECCA Spade SPADE, or you can follow me on my podcast as well. So at Our Black Podcast on Instagram as well.
All right, all right, all right. And you guys, you already know. If you don't know, you about to know.
And if you don't know,
now you
know.
know. You can follow me at iGlow Consulting, IGLOW Consulting on Instagram and Facebook. But better yet, you can tune in on Dr. Hazel Jay on Instagram and Get Lit with Dr. Hazel Jay on Facebook. You can also find me on my website if you'd like to book a session with me, a consultation at hazeljay.com, HAZELJAY.com. And lastly, you can most definitely come pop up anytime at 6714 Highway 85 and come get a session, come do a workshop, come just chill, come vibe, come do whatever. Come be on the show.
Come be on the show.
Come be on the show. All right, y'all. I'm out. And again, it's your girl, Dr. Hazel Jay, with my special guest,
Spade.
Hey.
And don't miss your blessing. Go book now at iGlow Consulting. Don't miss your blessing, baby.
It's blessings over here because we glowing,
We
baby.
Okay.